So my name is Jo Morris and I'm going to be with you for this webinar today. What are we going to be looking at? Well, we're going to be setting the scene. We want to have a little trip to the Proceeds of Crime Act 2002 Part 7 and the Terrorism Act 2000 Part 3. We're going to look at what is an AML officer, what are the roles, what are the responsibilities of both the MLRO and MLCO. We'll start with day one. Where are we going to begin? How should that journey look? And summarise then what happens on the first day, the first week, the first month, and the first year. Now, the MLCO, we don't have as big a job description, but again, every business will decide the responsibilities of the MLCO. It could be things like the MLCO is going to be involved in putting together the practice of firm-wide risk assessment with the money laundering reporting officer. The MLCO, with their seniority, hopefully helping to embed a really good compliance culture in your firm. The MLRO will make the SARS to the National Crime Agency, but for example, the MLCO could be involved when making decisions for not acting for that client or customer. The MLCO will also assess reputational impact on what steps can be taken to protect the business. And the MLCO and MLRO together will assess the annual report and need to make sure that the systems and controls that you've got in place are operating effectively. So a month later, we're going on the first month. A month has now passed since you took up your roles. Are we settling in? Are we getting there? Well, the MLROs at this point, I would still be out there trying to raise your profile, speak compliance with the money laundering regulations. We want buy-in from everybody. Do little walkabouts, old AML clinics, attend team or department meetings to get yourself promoted out there. And always try to keep AML high on the compliance agenda. The MLCO, you should be keeping on top of those policies and procedures. Make sure by this time now, a month into the role, you've got them all reviewed. They're all up to date. All of the latest guidance and regulations and legislation that is in there. And do you think there are gaps that are missing in your policies and procedures? This is an important one to think about because a lot of times we do see gaps in those policies and procedures. Because you don't do something doesn't mean that it shouldn't be put into your policies. Prime example with money laundering are things like, do you allow your staff to use simplified due diligence? Well, some of you will say we don't use simplified due diligence at all, which is fine. But put it into your policies and procedures because that tells staff you can't use simplified due diligence. So a lot of firms will think we don't need to put that into our policies and procedures because we don't have anything to do with it. Like reliance as well, that's another one. But even if you don't allow it or you don't do it, stick it into that policy and procedure.